This is Ori DeCartere with the third video for Talent Pathways, Biobanding and Talent Selection. When Johan Cruyff took over as Barcelona manager in 1988, one of the first actions he took as manager was to tear down a notice plastered on his door which read, "No players under 6 foot." This action meant more than simply taking a piece of paper down, as Cruyff revolutionised scouting at La Masia, Barcelona's world-famous youth academy. His actions meant that players were then judged on their footballing talents alone, regardless of size. This was the beginning of what is a well-utilised criteria in the scouting world that is still used today. So, what is biobanding? Biobanding is the process of grouping athletes on the basis of attributes associated with growth and maturation rather than chronological age. There are many ways in which young athletes could be compared against each other. One is their physical age or growth and maturation, while another is their sporting age. This is how many years an athlete has been participating in the sport. For example, a coach could compare the abilities of 4 7-year-old hockey players, but this may not be a fair comparison, as one athlete has played hockey for 4 years, while another has only played for 2 years, meaning the first hockey player has 2 years more experience in the game, which should equate to a more educated player. The idea of selecting players based on their physical size is designed to limit the impact of maturational timing on talent identification and development and expose early and late maturing players to new learning experiences and challenges. The results of a research project led by Ben Bradley in 2019, based on biobanding in academy football, found that players perceived the biobanding format as providing two main benefits. Early maturing players perceived greater physical and technical challenge, and in turn new opportunities and challenges. Late maturing players perceived less physical and technical challenge, yet greater opportunity to demonstrate technical and tactical abilities. All of this sounds great, but are there any arguments to the idea of biobanding? An article by Louis Rowledge, academy coach at Hull City, claimed that although biobanding is an effective way of allowing players to rely on their technical ability rather than just physical size and maturation, there is a worry that older players may feel embarrassed to have to play with players 3 or 4 years younger than themselves. Furthermore, although a player may be seen as physically advanced for his age, playing with players 1, 2 or even 3 years older may be a step too far, with older players demonstrating more aggression. Rowledge finally states that older players may feel that the games are less competitive when playing against younger players, regardless of physical size. This then leads into the question of whether clubs are selecting players too early. The Ministry of Football states that most Premier League academies select children from 9 years of age, with selections being reviewed annually. This age changes when research is done into the age that players begin training and playing friendly matches for the academy, which can be as young as 4 years old. There are success stories through this system, as Jesse Lingard began his career at Manchester United at the age of 9, subsequently making 232 appearances for the Red Devils before leaving to join Nottingham Forest. At another club, Mason Mount began training at Chelsea at age 4, joining the club officially at age 6. The idea that a child can train and play for an academy at 4 years old, with the prospect of being an academy player for many years, with the eventual goal of playing first team football, in my opinion, is ludicrous. I understand the idea that with the amount of money invested into clubs, and more specifically academies in modern football, that the recruitment has to be perfect, and advantages can be had when a club signs up a young talent before their rivals. But the idea that a 9-year-old can be under contract while being prepared for a career in professional football, which basically makes the decision for the child of what they are going to do for the next 30 years of their life, without them having a real say on the matter. Finally, children generally want to play and learn without pressure. Describing a 9-year-old academy player as the next big thing, adds unnecessary amounts of pressure on a young athlete, which can hinder performance. As Al Smith states, the biggest enemy of progress is an environment that allows any kid or their parent to define themselves as a high performer. That is just status anxiety masquerading as development.